EVTN News, and EVTN News has just been named the #1 most trusted news source in, I was going to say in the United States, but we've got some international people here, so thanks for representing the world. EVTN News is the most trusted Catholic news source in the world, and now is as good of a time as ever. Let me see what I can find here. Now is as good of a time as ever to say blue check mark, and because of the blue check mark, I don't have to post as many videos. No, that's just kind of an excuse. I'm not. If I don't post as many videos, then it will be because I'm doing other things. I did a book review recently, and I hope to do more. And because of that, I'm going to be reading more, and that will be that. All right, let's see what I can find. Oh boy. All right, I'm having trouble with accessing my internet. No, right there. No. Okay, hold on. Hang tight 1 second. This is not in the plans. I definitely always prepare, but today I don't know that I am. Okay, we have internet. All right, and we have the news source. Today I have a lot of interesting stuff. Now I recently talked about Nancy Pelosi being denied communion, and there's an interesting comment on there that said Nancy Pelosi is welcome to receive communion at my church. And there were actually a lot of Protestants. Did you see Whoopi Goldberg was complaining about it? And I thought, well, I mean, if you're outraged about that, then you're not Catholic, obviously. So really, you shouldn't have an opinion because you know nothing about the Catholic Church. Anyway, do the right thing, right? If you're Catholic, do the right thing, like this German priest, Andreas Sturm, a former vicar general of the Diocese of Speyer in southwestern Germany, made an announcement on May 13th that he is no longer Catholic, citing his disappointment over the lack of reforms in the church and admitting having broken his promise of celibacy. All right, so let's see. He announced he was no longer Catholic. Well, he wasn't Catholic to begin with, it sounds like. He said that he had lost hope and confidence over the years that the Roman Church can truly transform itself. He said, at the same time, I experience how much hope is placed in ongoing processes such as the synodal way, but I'm no longer in a position to also proclaim and honestly and sincerely share that hope because I simply don't have it anymore. So he lost hope for the synodal process. I wish more of the Germans would follow his lead. He is the former vicar general of the Diocese of Speyer. He described the ordination so he said, let's see, the most important topics that he believed were not being addressed were the ordination of women to the priesthood, the abolition of compulsory celibacy, dealing with LMNOP people, co-determination of the laity, I'm not sure what that means, blessing ceremonies for LMNOPs, and overall sexual morality in the church. So I wonder, having broken his promise of celibacy, is it fair to speculate it's a man or a woman? Maybe not. But anyway, this guy, give him credit, he's honest. He quit the church because, guess what? Doctrine can't change. And there's plenty of Germans who actually disagree with him, so this guy is at least an honest German. And at least he knows that the things that he is doing are against Catholic morality, as opposed to a lot of these other German bishops that are trying to promote this stuff. And that's just what it is. All right, moving on to the favorite for I think we're all looking forward to a new pope. So the favorites for the next pope. This was from the Times of Malta. Cardinal Mario Gretsch is being mentioned among the number of cardinals who stand a chance of succeeding Pope Francis at the next conclave. If you look at the term modernist, yeah, that probably would be accurate. The Times of London says Francis' opponents have a candidate to succeed him in Hungarian Cardinal Peter Erdo, a canon law expert seen as a man of rules with none of Francis' impulsive behavior. according to Luis Badilla, the editor of the Catholic website Il Sismografo. So Cardinal Peter Erdo from Hungary. Hungary seems to be a pretty solid nation. And this cardinal, I think he was against communion for divorced and remarried. So that's a good thing. And John Allen, the editor of Crux News, added that the Dutch Cardinal William Eijk, E-I-J-K, that's how you spell it, and the Canadian Cardinal Mark Ouellet, he added them to the list of conservative candidates. Ouellet's not a conservative. He'll go wherever the wind blows. And so who knows what Ouellet would do as Pope. Who really knows? But Cardinal Eijk, he seems to be conservative. Cardinal Ouellet, no, not so much. Especially, he works in the Vatican now. You can't be a conservative and work in the Vatican. It's impossible. You get fired. And he's still there. What does that say? But yeah, add those names to your list. The list changes pretty much daily, but I like to update you on some names. And one of these guys is going to be the next pope, maybe. I mean, who knows how long that'll be, but staying in Italy, Italian bishops promote LMNOP prayer groups. 3 Italian prelates have joined the dissident Catholic, quotes, LMNOP organizations to create sanctuaries of welcome and support for LMNOP people as part of the events to mark the International Day Against LMNOP Discrimination. The events comprise a number of ecumenical prayer services held in churches, Catholic and evangelical, all across Europe, starting on May 15th and continuing through June 6th. And so I would suggest that actually none of those churches are Catholic. Well, no, okay, that's not true. All of those churches are heretical. I would suggest that. Archbishop Corrado Lorifice of Palermo, appointed by Pope Francis in 2015, composed a prayer for this series of events urging people to assume and imitate the style of God that Jesus of Nazareth manifested on us. He leaves no one behind. No one is a stranger to him. All reach out, all welcome, all are recipients of his compassionate love, of the quivering of his fatherly womb. I don't understand. Archbishop, so he must be really so much into this LMNOP that he thinks that men can become pregnant? Okay. Anyway, that's apostate. That's an apostate. Pope Francis, heretic. Speaking of heretics, Pope Francis meets with Anglicans. Pope Francis received in audience members of the Anglican Roman Catholic International Dialogue Commission recently. I think it was May 13th. He said, he had like a speech that he gave, and he said it. I'm just taking some clips here. As you know, the Catholic Church has inaugurated a synodal process. For this common journey to be truly such, the contribution of the Anglican communion cannot be lacking. We look upon you as valued traveling companions. So it sounds just in line with Vatican II. Inviting Protestants as though they're part of the Catholic Church, which, I mean, very clearly they're not. And he said, may the Holy Spirit continue to inspire your work, and may each of us personally experience the joy and comfort of grace, of his grace. I thank you for all that you are doing, and I ask you please to pray for me. I need it. Well, I don't disagree with the last part, but the first part, may the Holy Spirit continue to inspire your work. He's saying that the Holy Spirit is inspiring the work of heretics. So I disagree with that. More heretics. The Spanish Jerusalem Bible changes text. I guess it's one of the approved Catholic Bibles. I don't know who approved it. But anyway, there was a publishing house in Spain which publishes the Jerusalem Bible. They changed the word man to person in its Spanish edition. So that's coming for the New American Bible, probably. Maybe? I don't know. This is the Jerusalem Bible. I think the Jerusalem Bible was all kinds of crazy, but it seemed like they still had approval. Anyway, stick with the Douay Rheims. They're not as cheap as the New American Bibles. You can't just always necessarily get them for free. Maybe you can in some places, but the New American Bible, I mean, they can't give them away fast enough. Even though they do have, the USCCB has the copyright to the New American Bible. The Douay Rheims Bible is free to read online if that's your thing, which is helpful to reference because it's more of an authentic Bible. Okay, the mothers of trad priests. Remember the mothers of the trad priests who were taking this hike, this pilgrimage to Rome? They were walking, I don't know how many miles. Oh, okay. Let me just read the clip that I have here. When a group of 30 French women, mothers of traditionalist priests, walked to Rome, covering nearly 1,000 miles, to attend a papal audience and plead for the continued use of the Latin liturgy on behalf of their sons, Pope Francis allowed just one of them to speak with him for 1 minute. Hello, how are you doing? Great, okay. Have a great day. There you go. There's your minute. And they walked 1,000 miles on this pilgrimage, and all they got, you know what? They got a longer meeting than Cardinal Zen got with the Pope. Got a longer meeting than the Dubia Cardinals got with the Pope. So there you go. Should they count themselves fortunate? Welcome to the live stream, everyone. EVTN, thanks for making this the most trusted news source on the internet. Back to Germany. Berlin Archbishop Heiner Koch presided at a May 17 LMNOP liturgy in Berlin's 12 Apostles Church, asking forgiveness for alleged discrimination of people because of their sexual orientation by the church. Oh boy. Koch announced that Berlin's archdiocese will appoint commissioners in each of the 35 parishes who, under the guise of fighting discrimination, will campaign for even more privileges for the LMNOPs. Practicing LMNOPs working for the church will not face consequences like they did before, as if they did before. During the liturgy, LMNOPs gave testimonies in order to advertise their sinful lifestyle. Okay, so this mass is not licit then, very, very obviously. Really, I think that's a big complaint of people about the Novus Ordo, is that you can kind of freestyle and do whatever you want. The priest can pretty much, he can allow other people to give testimonies, which really isn't part of the liturgy. I mean, it really has no place in the liturgy for anyone to give their testimonies. Look, if you want to give your testimony on YouTube. Give it on, not Twitter, but a blog or something like that. But give your testimony to people after Mass in the church hall or outside of the church. I mean, it's the church. The church building is a place for the liturgy, not for people to advertise testimonies. But especially LMNOPs. If you're an LMNOP, then don't give your testimony to anyone, because that's sinful. And St. Paul says some pretty strong things about people who practice the LMNOP lifestyle and people that support it. Spoiler, he's not a fan. We're moving to the Vatican finance scandal. Cardinal Becciu was in court giving testimony. He was said to be responsible for the sudden firing in 2017 of the Vatican's first Auditor General, Libero Malone, as well as the cancellation of an internal audit. But during a May 18th hearing in the Vatican's finance trial, Becciu denied this, stating that in June 2017, Francis called him to a meeting in his Santa Marta residence where he claimed that he no longer had trust in Malone, and therefore wanted Becciu to call the auditor and tell him he must resign. All that to say, Becciu is saying Francis told Becciu to fire the auditor. So if Becciu is correct, and Pope Francis was behind the cover-up of this fraudulent property deal. We're gonna it's gonna take more testimony to come up with something, but man, I mean, this doesn't look good for Pope Francis, I will say that. Will this cause him to resign? I don't think anything's gonna cause him to resign, personally. I mean, after McCarrick and now this. Who was it? Zanchetta. Nope. Cardinal Wolicky has been cleared. The Vatican has ruled that German Cardinal Rainer Maria Wolicky did not breach canon law when awarding contracts connected to a landmark report on clerical abuse. Remember, he was the one. He's a bishop who opposes the German synodal way. So there was all these allegations, and he resigned. The Archdiocese of Cologne announced the Vatican's decision on May 3rd. During a 7-month period of spiritual leave taken by the Cardinal, the Apostolic Administrator of the Archdiocese commissioned 2 independent canon lawyers to study the contracts awarded by Cardinal Wolicky and Vicar General Monsignor Marcus Hoffman. And so, I don't know that Wolicky was a favorite for Pope, but he did seem to be one of the ones that opposed the German synodal way, and so as a result of that, I think it's possible that some of these things were pressuring him to resign. I don't know. We'll see. But he was cleared. I don't think he'll return as cardinal, but we'll see. All right, here's more of United States news. Father David Abernathy switched to the Byzantine Rite, and here is part of his statement that he released. I actually don't know much about him. First off, I'll just as kind of like a precursor. He ran the Pittsburgh Oratory of St. Philip Neri, very close to University's Pitt and Carnegie Mellon, and just a block away from St. Paul Cathedral, the cathedral for the Diocese of Pittsburgh. This organization, this oratory of St. Philip Neri, the priests say Mass ad Orientem, so they get the reverent Novus Ordo crowd. People, some of them wear veils, some of them receive communion on the tongue, and he never said he quit, but we can draw conclusions, and it's rather significant that a priest switches rites. He said, dear folks, I am making a transition from oratory to the Byzantine Archeparchy of Pittsburgh. Please keep me in your prayers and know that I will continue the online studies of the Fathers through Philokalia Ministries. Philokalia Ministries, I think that's how you say it. Thank all of you who have been so kind over the years. My relationship with Eastern traditions has intensified over the years, and now I feel it is time to immerse myself in that tradition and embrace it as fully as possible. I ask you to pray for me as this transition continues over the course of the next few weeks and months. Please know I am willing to continue to meet with anyone who desires to do so and will be available for spiritual direction and confession. So he's a superior. He leaves his order. How much did the Novus Ordo weigh on his decision to transfer rights? And I think this is very significant. I mean, yeah, he's leading a religious order, and he wasn't going to be transferred by the bishop or anything like that. But will other priests follow his lead? I think that's the important question here, because if priests are stuck, like if they learned the Latin Mass and they were saying it, and now their bishop has told them, nope, can't say the Latin Mass. You can't even say a private Latin Mass. Are they going to be more inclined to switch to the Byzantine Rite, where they can actually say a reverent liturgy? Remember, there's bishops that banned ad Orientem Mass in the Roman Rite, in the Novus Ordo Rite. And so, if a priest, you can't say I say that the bare minimum for a reverent liturgy is ad Orientem. A bare minimum for a reverent Novus Ordo. A reverent Novus Ordo is ad Orientem. And people can debate whether or not reverent, what reverent means, but This is certainly a consideration, I think, and this is significant. I don't know if any other priests are going to want to do that because the Byzantine congregations are kind of small. This particular priest, he posts on Twitter, and I don't know if he blogs, but I do know that a lot of people know who he is, and they've been following him. And he does post a lot of Eastern stuff, and so maybe his charism is more Eastern. That's certainly one way to sway. You know, that's certainly, he can be swayed in that direction. But you don't. You can obtain bi-ritual faculties without leaving the rite. And so I wonder if more priests will try to do this as they become increasingly frustrated with the Roman Rite, or the faithlessness of the Roman Rite bishops. I don't know what to say about the Eastern Rite bishops if if their faith is if they're in line with the Catholic faith, but if they're completely in line with all the doctrines of the faith, I don't know. I mean, the Roman Rite bishops, it seems like a lot of them really are not, which is disappointing. And that leads into the next story. Brother Martin denied canonical status. So Bishop James Johnston of the Diocese of Kansas City St. Joseph has ordered Brother Martin Navarro to cease presenting himself as a religious brother or member of a religious community, and also to stop fundraising for an unauthorized chapel. Navarro had asked Johnson to formally recognize a traditional Latin Mass religious group called the Oblates of St. Augustine. Johnston denied this. Johnston with a T. He denied this request, and he ordered the group to cease operating in the diocese. Brother Martin said he will not obey. Easier alternative to that would be to form an Eastern religious group. I listened to a podcast, I think it was Matt Fradd, where he was interviewing this Byzantine nun. Now, this was from a few years ago, but I just recently listened to it, and she said that if her community grows larger than, say, like 12 nuns, then they will ask a few nuns to branch off and start their own religious community, and they will write their own constitutions. It seems like it will be, in the current moment, it would be a lot easier to write constitution, just to start a traditional Eastern Catholic religious group, like a Byzantine Catholic religious group, order, whatever, than it would be to start a Latin Mass order. Now, obviously, the charism is Roman Catholic, and by that, the tradition of the Roman Catholic faith is the Latin Mass, and so obviously this is certainly desirable, but I wonder if that's a way in, and then maybe obtaining bi-ritual faculties and then saying the Latin Mass in private. I don't know. It's just a thought that I had. And with this hostility, it's doesn't seem like it's going to get much better for at least a little while. Okay. Eric Sammons posted a tweet recently about how there was a crackdown on the Latin Mass from Bishop Esteves of the Diocese of St. Augustine, Florida. So there you go, more Augustinian stuff. Not really, because that's a city, and they probably call it St. Augustine, the Protestant pronunciation, but the city of St. Augustine, right? Reclaim the Roman Rite. It's not it's not Istanbul, it's Constantinople. Anyway, he finally implemented the motu proprio, and he banned a lot of stuff, and it's like, okay, whatever. But then he said there should be no celebration of other sacraments and or rites according to the old rite. Point 9 and 10 are particularly interesting here. He said appropriate catechesis should take place to ensure that the faithful who participate in the celebration of the old rite are properly instructed regarding the celebration of liturgy according to the liturgical norms of the Second Vatican Council, which forms the unique expression of the lex orandi of the Roman Rite. No thank you. Very much no thank you. What are they going to do? Go up to these people and hand out propaganda? Active participation. Here you go. Would you like to have this pamphlet? Would you like to hear about the? Would you like to hear that there is no salvation outside of the new rite? Oh wait, but there is. There is salvation outside of the new rite because there's salvation for everyone, right? That's not. This is this is so rigid. It's unbelievable how rigid this is. How are they accompanying the people who want to attend the Latin Mass? They're not. So, instructed regarding the celebration of liturgy according to the liturgical norms of the Second Vatican Council. There are no, I mean, really, if you look at the Second Vatican Council documents, there are no instructions. It's really just free for all. Do whatever you want. And so, guess what? We want the Latin Mass. Where's our participation trophy? Anyway, point number 10 says it is never proper for elements of the Missale Romanum of 1962 to be brought into the Reformed liturgy promulgated by the Holy See following Vatican II. So basically, what he's saying here is Eric Sammons had a problem with that. He said no more readings or signs of the cross or consecrations. There are certain things in the Novus Ordo that occur in the Latin Mass. I mean, they took a structure of it. I mean, people say they use the Cranmer Rite of the Protestants to found the Novus Ordo, but the structure is similar to the Latin Mass. Between the Latin Mass and the Novus Ordo, they have the sign of the cross, they have the words of consecration, but it is never proper for elements to be brought into the into the Reformed liturgy. I appreciate how he uses the term Reformed liturgy. It sounds like a Protestant term. So he sounds kind of right on that. But no, this is pathetic. I mean, I don't know where the SSPX are in this region, but hopefully you find an SSPX church, because you know what? A lot of the people that are attending the SSPX, they're just saying, "I'm done. Like, I'm sick of it. I don't want to fight these rotten bishops anymore," and they just move on. Sometimes you just got to do it, especially if you want sacraments. If you have kids and you want sacraments for them, what do you want? A Novus Ordo baptism? When are you going to get the exorcisms then? Because really, any priest should have the right to baptize babies in the old rite. I mean, heck, I could baptize a baby. I'm just not going to do the exorcisms. I'm a layman. What, you know? Okay, Brazilian priest involved in hit and run, and I was kind of fired up about this, but then I saw I wasn't so supportive of him after I saw, read further in the article. So, Brazilian Catholic priest driving the parish's vehicle hit a burglar with his car after seeing him leave the rectory with stolen goods. This happened on May 7th in Santa Cruz do Rio Pardo. Security cameras captured the moment when Dominican Father Gustavo Trinidad dos Santos chased and hit the burglar with his car. The footage showed that the vehicle left the place immediately after the collision, making it clear the priest did not help the victim. According to the news website G1, the 37-year-old priest celebrated a wedding shortly after the incident. And I guess the bride said that he was normal. He acted normal, like nothing happened. And okay, well, the burglar was taken to the hospital. Yeah, I'm not really sure what to think about this. South America is a very weird place. It's that's just what it is. You get all kinds of corruption. And the governments are the thing with the United States government. I think the politicians can't get away with as much in the United States as they can in South America. I'm just gonna say that. If they could, they would, but they don't. And you see a much wider gap between the rich and the poor, because the poor here get government benefits. The poor there, live in cardboard boxes. And you also get a lot, you get a wide spectrum of tradition and heresy in regards to the priests that are in South America, it seems. I'll just leave it there. And that's all the news I have except for this last one. Mass of the Ages documentary. Did you watch the first one? Well, now you'll be able to watch the second one this Thursday, Ascension Thursday. So make sure to watch it and share it with your friends. I expect this one is going to deal more with the creation of the new Mass. And I am interested to see what they had to say. Because the first one was a lot of optimism. And as far as the new Mass goes, this could open some people's eyes. Now for us, for those of you watching this channel, I don't think it's going to present a lot of new information that you didn't already know. But hopefully it gives you a little more of a background, and maybe you can share it with some friends, and hopefully they'll enjoy it. Hopefully I will. I don't know. We'll see what happens. And I'm excited for it, and I hope you are as well. Thank you for commenting, everyone. And let's see. I saw a few comments. Hello from Utah. Great to have you on here. It's living purgatory. He's not Catholic. He doesn't belong in the church. Well, I'm not sure who you're saying that in regards to, but I certainly think, what is it, the first at least 5 or 6 of these articles I read that could apply to. Bella Dodd warned us decades ago. What about the communist infiltration of the church? I don't know. I have some books on communism. That's another thing. I have some books, and I'm going to be doing book reviews, and you'll see that when I read, I have a little less time to make videos, so it's really a time management type of thing. If I don't post a video in a week, don't worry. I'll be posting. I'm going to try to post at least one video a week. The summer's nice. There's a lot of things to do, and I might not necessarily focus on YouTube as much as maybe before. I was doing at least 3 videos a week. That might not be practical at this point with the time, dedicated to different things. But I'm not going to forget you guys. I'm going to be here. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. And by the way, I mean, this is the most trusted news source, so what else are you going to do, you have EVTN News, and that's what you need. I mean, I refer to Canon 212. He was criticized by Father Gerald Murray. I thought that was pretty funny. Father Murray said, "Oh, how can you say thug cardinal or whatever?" And Frank thought it was pretty funny. Canon 212 is where I get a lot of my sources for this information, where I'm able to compile it. And I try to do a nice summary for you and post the links in the description for you to reference so that you can make the judgment for yourself. But why would your opinion differ from mine? I mean, we all have the same opinion, right? We're all traditional Catholics, and we're all angry and radical, and that's just how we want it. So thank you so much for watching EVTN News. And we're rigid, by the way. We're very rigid, except we're not as rigid as this bishop who's trying to ban the Latin Mass. I mean, come on. Really, rigidity? St. Paul was rigid. Pope Francis criticized St. Paul for being rigid. I don't know. I'm going with St. Paul on that one. All right, thank you so much for watching. This has been EVTN News. We are the laity, and we will not be silent.